William Shakespeare once said, "If music be the food of love, play on." Welcome to the first ever episode of Lyrics of Love. To love eternally is to live with harmony. I am Dulce Gutierrez.
And I am Micaela Habitan. I welcome you all again with peace and serenity. Once again, this podcast will showcase nostalgia and the essence of love in our lives in the current times. So buckle up because along with Wordy Right will come your way.
For our first episode, we have three exceptional guests from Ateneo de Davao University here with us.
A warm welcome to Mr. Jose Calvin Huson. He is well known for being the Mr. Intellectual and Mr. Softy of Grade 11 Section AUDA.
Miss Aya Claire Filipinas, the drop-dead gorgeous chick of Ateneo.
The last but not the least, Mr. Fernan Jimenez, the man that women can definitely resist.
Hello Aya, Fern, and Calv, so welcome to the show.
To further this discussion, the topic of love will now commence.
Since 1950, soft rock music has touched the hearts of millions of people, combining the techniques of rock and folk music. Today, it is still widely popular and has truly left a remarkable memory to each person.
On a real note, whenever I hear the term love, a thought will suddenly come up in my mind that says it is the most beautiful feeling in the world. I always believe that love and happiness are intertwined with each other.
It seems like you're quite knowledgeable about love, partner. Care to share your experience?
All I can say, partner, is that if both of you truly love one another, then you should undoubtedly face the world to defend it no matter what. Take a risk now or regret it later.
Your love does conquer anything, partner. Nothing's gonna stop you from loving that person. Now, let's go to our guests.
But I'm going to start with the Mr. Intellectual and Mr. Softy of Section AUDA. A warm greeting to you, Mr. Jose. What's your favorite soft rock love song and its deep connection to you as an individual?
That was quite flattering, but anyway, as a man of culture, I have come across quite a lot of songs from different genres, especially those that were pretty popular during the so-called emo phase years ago. Despite that, the particular song which I have a certain connection with is the one entitled When She Cries, composed by the band Restless Heart back in the 90s. It has a catchy melody and based on my own perception of the song, gives off a vibe which signifies that of romance and chivalry. The song was all about a man who faced a lot of predicaments in life. All he had was a woman who stayed by his side no matter what happened. Later on, the man figured out how much pain she has also been through and wanted to become the man that she deserves. Realistically, all of us have our own problems in life. At some point, we even start to think that those problems were specifically given to us in order to exploit our weaknesses. Back then, I too had an experience of wanting to give up, but fortunately, certain individuals came into my life and like the woman in the song, they saved me from getting engulfed within my deepest and darkest thoughts. Up until this very moment, I am still grateful towards those people who made me realize that I am indeed important. I intend to do the same and show them my gratitude in any way possible and as much as I can.
You have a deep hugot right there, Mr. Calvin. There would be really that one person who would support you in your endeavors. I'm sure they are also grateful to have you in their lives.
That's a comprehensive and complete answer, Mr. Jose. We all have dilemmas and devastations in life, but the time will come where we will be able to overcome all of it, both from the inside and the outside.
Now, let's ask our gorgeous blonde chick, Miss Aya. What are your thoughts on your favorite soft rock love song, and is there a memory anchored with it?
For me, Apocalypse is a song that talks about a long-lost, passionate love that you couldn't get over with. You may be long gone, but your love is still present. You may have drifted away, but you're still staying. He did love you, yet he wasn't happy. It's a sweet reminder of all the good in the past, and you secretly want it to come back, even when all that's left is a crumbling memory. In the line, "You've been locked in here forever, but you just can't say goodbye," I understood this part as to how the other person's love faded away, while the other still chose to keep him in her heart. It's a decent representation of how two lovers were meant to meet each other but weren't meant to be together. As for the memory of mine, I don't think I have a close one that I can anchor to this song. However, I did like someone back then who never knew how I felt. I liked his way with words, his wisdom, and he really helped me how to become more mature when it comes to life. I may already have lost hope and like someone else now, but I never stopped admiring him.
To be honest, what you just said gave me an awestruck moment. Your way with words, Miss Aya, is definitely breathtaking, and I love the overall message of it.
That was such a touching and relatable experience for all of us, Miss Aya. Now, let's proceed to our third guest.
Greetings, Mr. Ferdinand, as known as the Mr. Loverboy of Ateneo. Dare to share your experience about being a hopeless romantic? Just kidding. Back to the topic. What are some of your nostalgic memories and unforgettable experiences from your preferred soft rock love song?
Well, generally, I have many soft rock love songs from different bands and timelines. But I would like to promote as and use as an example this particular opium song with the title of Dulo ng Hangganan by Four of Spades. But this song for me holds unforgettable and nostalgic memories, both painful and blissful. This song is about reaching the Dulo ng Hangganan, or in English, the end of ends. It could also be the end of the boundary or end of time. And the end that the song pertains to is the feeling of love towards someone. The singer felt lost, sorrowful, and nostalgic, wondering what happened to him and his loved one. Their promises, their dreams, the accomplishments they achieved together, the love they shared with each other, and they did not end up together. So the song brought me sorrow before when I was listening to it, when me and my girlfriend were not in good terms and sort of broke up before, because the song was an original Pinoy music with words that can be easily understood. As it was also slow-paced and indie rock vibes gives it more sadness and emotion. So that the song brought pain and sadness to me before, and I think it does to others as well. But on the other hand, the reason why this song to me is very memorable is because it was my favorite and one of the songs in the album that my girlfriend and I listened to back when we were in a tricycle. We leaned towards each other, shared earphones in the rainy evening of Tagum with all the city lights and noise. Yeah, that night was just very blissful for me. So whenever I hear this song, sometimes I feel the pain of having a relationship and love with someone suddenly fall apart and your memories with that person will forever sting. That I am hoping not to feel again. But also sometimes the feeling of nostalgia, hoping that things will stay as it was that day, being with her, leaning towards each other, listening to music on that rainy night in Tagum. And these are the moments I fully appreciate up to this day. And with all these memories and feelings I get, this is one of my favorite slow rock indie songs.
A huge thanks and applause to that, Mr. Fernan. One thing that I can say for sure is that no matter how it ended or if it's still continuing, at least it happened. Those memories will forever be treasured in our hearts.
Personally, my favorite songs also had memories attached to them, and so I could quite relate to what you are sharing with us today. But perhaps if I were to share my sentiments about love, I do think it is very complicated. Might sound cliche, but no one has ever given a definite meaning to it. However, everyone has felt it. I agree with what you said a while ago, partner, that love is the most beautiful thing in the world.
You definitely got me, partner, especially in your statement, which is everyone has felt it. What a wonderful part of this podcast. And before I forget it, I am solemnly thankful for the guest responses to Dulce and I's questions. I look forward to hearing more from our dear guests as this podcast will now transition into an open forum. Let's relate love and hugot culture to the Filipino youth in the modern era.
Mr. Loverboy, it's your turn to shine.
Yeah, for me, I can say that social media plays a big role in the youth's attachment to modern hugot culture. It has the ability to influence the youth to become more open and expressive, which also influences their form and expression of hugot. And what is amazing is that we people can relate to it, whether the hugot can give us joy or give us pain. As for love in the modern era, its definition has changed as time passes, with different forms of love now being accepted. And from what I can observe, love is not as strict as it was before. With social media and technology, one can have the ability to be intimate with anyone they find on the internet.
Exactly, Mr. Fernan. I do also have a perception that social media is one of the ways that brought hugot culture to Filipino youth. What about you, Mr. Jose?
Love is timeless and at the same time formless. It is not bound or basic and common understanding on the different aspects of our lives. It also cannot be defined by neither the laws of physics nor the application of mathematics. It is objective and its definition relies significantly on one's perception on what this particular emotion signifies. The Filipino youth has been attached to the how love is portrayed in dramas, songs, social media, or even in animes, as I myself am one of them. For me, the reasons why the youth has been attached to the concept of modern hugot culture are either because of astonishment at the idea of romance upon entering their teenage years or longing for love since their childhood. They're obviously somewhat gotten curious as to how relationships work, so they decided to engage in one in order to gain more knowledge about it. On the other hand, there are those people who had been deprived with attention and care during their younger days. Hence, they resort to getting attached to the idea of romance in order to fill the emptiness within their heart.
So true, but let's face the fact that some may and some may not. Some love stories are just perfect enough, and that tragedies come their way very often. The last but not the least, Miss Aya Filipinas.
From what I noticed, the definition of love has really changed in the modern era, especially among the Filipino youth. Modern love has become too fancy, unlike the love that existed ages ago. Now that it just seems normal ever since social media has become such a great avenue for these types of interactions, I think the youth's attachment to hugot culture is rooted in the positivity that it offers. It's both comforting and helpful to know that at some level we all relate to each other. I believe there exists an inner hugot in each of us. Hugots may be just part of the evolution of banats and puns, but it's undeniable that it's etched in our society.
I highly agree, Miss Aya. The main misconception nowadays is that most believe that hugots just come from romantic love, but in truth, it can also come elsewhere like family or peers' love, and even from our own difficulties. In the end, hugot will always be part of our culture.
True, partner. Honestly, I always see a great future in these young ones, especially when I read their witty hugots that are truly relatable not only in romantic but also in platonic love.
This session made us have a great time with ourselves, folks. I myself have no means to end this podcast session because of how insightful this is to all of us. We don't just learn a lot about love, but also how to deal with our personal lives. So, to conclude, my stunning partner will present some recap about this episode.
I had a lot of fun listening and exchanging insights with our guests. Hearing all of your hugots about love made me feel the kilig and also the heartache. One of those is that anyone has the capacity to love no matter how young or old. Love is just there. Love is also timeless and formless, as Mr. Kelvin said. Let's ask my gorgeous partner about her takeaways for this episode.
On an honest note, I did enjoy the whole session, especially because it's about love. When you get true with love, it is definitely worth more than a billion. To Mr. Jose, I learned that love is timeless and more than the portrayal in fiction. Miss Aya, from her honest thoughts about love that gave us an awe-striking moment. And for Mr. Fernan, he made me realize what love is in his reality. Yes, love undoubtedly hurts us, but it's also a moral lesson that we bring to eternity.
That's a really deep hugot, partner. As much as I hate this portion as we are about to end this podcast, I would like to thank all the listeners who are still with us until this time. I hope you enjoyed our talk about love and our hugot lines exchange. This is the first episode and we are still looking forward to being with you on the next.
Love is inevitable. It is that thing that urges us to do the best and the worst. Nonetheless, love is worth more than what we expect it to be. So spread love, not hate, ad majorem de gloria. Once again, we are more than grateful to all of you who did finish this podcast together with us hosts and our lovable guests. So peace out, folks.
Have a great week ahead. Once again, this is Lyrics of Love. To love eternally is to live with harmony. I am your host and your love guru, Dulce Gutierrez.
And I am Micaela Habitan, also your host and love guru for this podcast episode. So love all you want, but always be responsible. Adios, everyone!